kicking off this dual retro game hunt are the cartridge-based video games here at Twin Oaks. And I say dual because later in the episode, as you saw in the introduction, we're going to be taking a look in the updated retro world in Derby. So lots to come, lots to get excited about, and lots of shopping to do in this episode. Now, I picked up Outriders there. I was baffled as to why that was so cheap on the PlayStation 5. I did play it on the Xbox via Game Pass when it came out, and initially I was hooked, but I abandoned it. And maybe I should go back to it, I'm not quite sure. Let me know if you've played it or if you think I should go back to it. I know that there's some DLC that's come out recently. But enough about that. Cartridge-based video games. This was a vendor. So not somebody that's just kind of selling their collection. This was a dealer, vendor rather, and the following kind of bits of footage, or rather pockets of footage, are from his stall. They stand every week. The son is very, very nice. I've got a lot of time for him. He's a big collector himself, and he was actually telling me he had a factory sealed copy of Snatcher and one of the, I think it was a silver or a grey Nintendo Championship cartridge in his personal collection. So that blows anything away compared to what I have, and I think I have a pretty good retro video game collection. But something like Snatcher, although I own it, I definitely don't own a factory sealed copy, but I like to play it, so I'm kind of happy to be absolutely honest with you. But there was some good stuff on this stall, and this was the first time that I had ever seen cartridge-based games on this particular vendor stall, so that was really, really good. I always feel less and less excited about PS2 and Xbox 360 games as there's such an abundance of them. And I'm so sick of it, I really, really am, but I always have a bit of a sift through the bigger lots like this, because sometimes there is a hidden gem lying amongst the bits there. So we're going to go to another stall now. This was another vendor in this footage right here with this red PlayStation 3 controller. And again, I'll show you everything that I picked up later in the episode, but this is a great stall. Shout out to Rye. Rye owns this stall, and he is also at Twin Oaks every single week. He was very, very nice and very, very busy. And we had a good chat about collecting and, you know, how he kind of collects in order to kind of sell and to run this business. And I think it was really, really nice to be able to do your hobby and enjoy it and feed your family as well from the hard work. So Rye, shout out to you, mate. I will be buying more stuff from you in the future as we visit Twin Oaks again. This stall seemed like one of those house clearance stalls. The kinds of stalls that you think to yourself, those look like expensive paperweights to those consoles, such as the original Xboxes here, alongside the 360s, alongside these very grotty, fat PlayStation 2. So I was very put off, and I always am put off by these kinds of stalls, but I think they do serve a purpose. I think for the modding community that might want to buy consoles for parts, I think it's pretty good. There's even a torn piece of a PlayStation 2 demo there. I mean, you really do find some tact in these places. Sarah's Wii, she did pick a Wii up from the charity shop, and unfortunately it was a bit faulty. The picture was flickering. So if you have any suggestions on why the picture on a Wii would flicker, we've changed the cables, we've tried a different Wii on the same TV, cable change doesn't work, and the other Wii works fine on the TV. So if you have any suggestions to help Sarah get that Wii fixed, please let us know in the comment section below. This stall, obviously another vendor, but a vendor in Xbox 360 titles. Quite pricey, some of them actually, for what they were. I think the FIFAs were in the pound bin. Nobody's going to pay £1 for FIFA 11, nobody. unless you are the person that will pay £1 for FIFA 11. Me personally, not a chance. And we didn't buy anything from here. There was nothing here. Again, I'm so bored of Xbox 360 titles. But again, you never know, I'm leafing through. My mindset here is, come on, hidden gem, jump out at me, or something I don't have, please, please, please. But there was one game that really did make me laugh, and it was actually a PlayStation 1 game on this stall. I thought, oh, I'm going to buy this, and you'll see it in a minute. I'll just tell you the story now. I'm going to buy this PS1 game. Let me just check the disc. Here it is. I'm going to check the disc in here. This looks great, fantastic. Right, okay, we've got the disc, we've got the manual. Wait a second, why the hell is that fused together as though it's been bonded with PVA glue? Yeah, absolutely mortified. The vendor actually took it off me and put it behind the store because it was that shambolic. And speaking of shambolic, look at the state of that blooming GameCube. Oof, disgusting. Some PSP and Game Boy Advance little bits here. Nothing to shout about. That PSP was, I think it had the battery missing. I believe I did film it, but there's no way of telling if it worked. And to be honest, I don't actually need a PSP because I do have a black one, a yellow one, a pink one, a duck egg blue. I mean, I have loads of PSPs, so I was just like, nah, we'll scratch that. But cool to see nonetheless. A couple of controllers here, random bits under here, Kinect, Wiimotes, and then this weird Nintendo 64 controller that I'd never seen, and I actually don't know what this pack is for. Maybe it's some kind of weird jumper pack or cheat pack. It's called a Power Joy. So if anybody knows what a Power Joy is, it's your turn to speak up in them comments. Light them up, guys. Spoiler alert, I purchased this amiibo for the grand price of £3. What a bargain! That amiibo is now with my other amiibos sitting prettily on my wall in the Lady Lounge. I think that's a really good price. Amiibos are such a high collector's piece, so I was really happy, and this was a great stall. I didn't have these Yoshis, so I got them as well. There's another little spoiler, but Sarah actually picked up a red Yoshi, and that's one of them. She had all of these, the yellow, the pink, the blue, the green, didn't have the red, so she's now completed her little collection of weird rubber plastic Yoshis. So yeah, quality. Couple of bits here, pretty decent stuff, not too shabby. Obviously a Halo fan in this household. We got the tin of Halo 3 as well. I think there was a very niche market of Halo 3 fans. I think 2 dominated because of the multiplayer aspect, and obviously 1 was just the first and mammoth introduction of the Halo series, so I think it carries a special place in people's hearts. Pokemon cards, lots of good stuff here, and really nice to see this actually, the Asterix and Obelix Collector's Edition. And check out this condition on the boxed Wii. I mean, look how clear and crystal the edges are. The wheels were really good condition. No yellowing, no scuffs, no bumps, bruises, absolutely nothing. This was very early on in the car boot, so I was surprised, actually not surprised that that was still there, given that it was so early. Nice few bits here, again, nothing overly pressing to shout about. Always checking the Wii stock now because, again, Sarah is becoming a Wii fanatic. She commented that she can't believe she's only just discovered it actually, so I always check. And then a PSP game, Crazy Taxi, I think they wanted £2 for that. There was no haggling, but you'll have to wait till the end to see if it's now in my collection. This stall here was, again, one of those house clearance stalls, and they were loading off all the gear, all the games, all the bits off the back of the van. People were diving into the games, including myself. They had a Mega Drive 2 there, lots of other things, but nothing still that just really said to me, nothing spoke to me. But I will say this was a fantastic day at Twin Oaks for gamers. There were lots of really nice games there, and I think it does make it worth going because there are at least 2 video game vendors, retro game vendors there every single week. Now we're about to dive into part 2 of this bumper Jewel episode, and we're going to be heading over to Derby, to Retro World, because that shop has changed massively since its opening and when I initially went in. Here we go, we are in the Retro World in Derby, which is I say new store. This is actually the third location that they've stood at in Derby. They were on the Eagle Market, then there was another market they were at, and then they came to this, and on their opening weekends I actually kind of went in and I did an exclusive video here. So if you'd like to check it out and perhaps judge on some of the differences yourself, I will link it in the cards. Now this cabinet here in the middle that you see between the shelves, that's where the more expensive titles went, and I noticed that there was some things missing. There was a large big box variant of, I think it was Yoshi, like Super Mario World 2 or kind of Yoshi's Island. That had been sold. That was priced in at $3.50, and I was like, what? I don't quite know what I'm doing here. Maybe posing for a thumbnail, but we've already got a thumbnail, Gemma. Stop posing, telling myself off as I roll here. So it was nice to kind of see a quick turnover of stock, and I like that. I've said it before, it's a good indicator. If you go into a shop and it looks different, even if it's 2 weeks apart, 3 weeks apart, that's always a good sign that you're in a retro game shop that gives a crap, let's just say, about its brand. And if you notice, and we'll go down the back, there were lots of arcade cabs spread out, but the back, especially of this store, looked way more packed. The arcade cabs were there, but they had moved. So yeah, pretty cool thus far in. Hands up in the chat, how many of you like random little, what I call faffy bits? These were £1 each. I wouldn't pay £1 each for them, but I like to kind of show them. Jess tends to like more of that kind of stuff to go on like shelves and whatnot. But yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll pass. But we're kind of getting down to the back of the store, and you can see just how much more full the shelves look, how busier it looks down here, how much busier compared to last time. I mean, I think this is one to watch in terms of its development. This shop is not massively rare stuff when I went in, so if you're kind of going in here for really rare stuff, don't think you're going to find that at Retro World. I'd probably angle more towards Super Game Shack or Doorway to Dorkness. But yeah, on the whole, pretty cool. Now, magazines, we're going to take a look at the magazines at the minute. There seem to be a lot more magazines in here than ever, and I think you don't see that often in a retro game store. The magazines range from £3 to £10. £10 for a magazine, but ultimately, again, it just depends on what you want. We've got a Pokemon sticker book here, used as you could, if you're a keen eye, you'll see that some were actually missing. And there's the arcade cabs lined up on that left-hand wall. They're actually spaced out in this shop that you can see here in the previous Retro World episode. Legion of Doom on the WWF, as it was known back then, WWE now. Legion of Doom, I was saying to Jess, do you remember these? Of course she remembered them. Now there was some here that I didn't know if I had, but I wasn't really up for paying that. But saying that, I actually did buy a magazine in here, and you'll see why actually, because it had something really popping off on the front cover that I remember from being a little girl. So I did purchase it, so maybe I paid over the odds, but I think if you see anything in a shop, I think if you want it, you're going to buy it. It just, sometimes price doesn't even come into this, because if it's something that you want, it's something you're going to buy ultimately. So £10 for a magazine, I wanted it, I bought it. We got some PC here, big box PC, not too bad, really nice to see. I'm seeing a lot more big boxed PC shoot up in value, and here it is, the hologram on the front there, I remember that. So that was a tenner, and I did pick that up. So, and I've actually gone through it. There's a few shots of it over on my Instagram if you want to go and have a look in that magazine. down the front then, I've got some NES that were just priced up here. I didn't buy any NES, not like massively in the market, and to be fair, I actually had all of these anyway. I didn't spend a great deal in here because I didn't see a great deal that I wanted or needed. So I kind of just drifted away. I didn't go into the other shop in Derby because I'm not a big fan of, no longer a fan of MGX, because I think that, you know, they tend to get a lot of stuff from charity shops and mark it up really, really high, which I think is really cheeky, if I'm honest. You know, because other people can't get deals in charity shops because they're all scooped up by Mobile Game Exchange and then sold at like quadruple the price. They've told me that that's what they do in person, so I tend to kind of avoid that. I don't think it's very ethical practice for the community. I think it's far too much about profit, but we digress. Now this is something called Just Clocked It. So as you can see, it's a Japanese, looks like a top-down arcade table, which it is, but what you actually do is put a PlayStation controller in it, a PS2 controller in it, and then the whole thing, the top-down arcade, the whole thing becomes the controller. So it's a really, really cool way to play your Space Invaders on your television. And I said, you know, can we kind of take a look here? This seems like a really unique and nice piece of kit. We very carefully try to kind of get it out, and it's in great condition, really, really nice. And again, not something I would use, don't have the space for it, I don't think it even looks that pretty, to be honest, but you can see the innards. You put your PlayStation 2 controller in there, and then you can use the buttons on the front to play Space Invaders. So I thought, I've got to show my audience this. I think they'll really, really like it. But let me know what you think, or have you ever seen anything like that in the past? So on the left hand side as you walk in, you can kind of see me, well, I was in shot then, just taking a look at the SNES games and whatnot. But on the right hand side, this really cool stuff down here, like I clocked Fallout 2 big box PC, that was $99.99, that's pretty rare. Fallout 2 and 3 big box PC, I've seen them at the gaming markets for in the region of £100 each. So if you're a big box PC fan, and again, I think it's quite a niche market, but I thought they were really, really cool. Obviously, I'm looking at my beloved Super Nintendo stuff, and there's everything in here I've got. Didn't need anything, just kind of pointing out SimCity, a nice classic game there. One of the games I noticed had shot up in price. I don't remember which one it was actually, but I think it was $29.99 when I first came in, and it had gone up to $49.99. And I think that's why I was widening my eyes then, like as if to say, what? So yeah, it was a good trip. It was a really good trip, and I think this is quite a unique shop for Derby. It's pretty cool, and I would implore you guys to go and check it out. So we're gonna let the rest of this retro game hunt play, and then we'll dive back into the lady lounge, and you guys can see what the hell exactly what I picked up. Oh, and please subscribe. It massively helps the channel. Massively helps the channel if you guys subscribe and use this hashtag Team24 to share it onto Twitter. I will follow you back, and I will retweet, and I will check out your content. But give it a share. Hashtag Team24. I need a few seconds of your time to tell you about channel memberships. If you guys want to become a channel member, click join from the main page or the second link in the description. There are 3 tiers, all with different perks for you if you want to become a team member. Thanks for your time. Let's continue with the video.